Hello, everyone. Hello, my friends. I've missed you. It's been a while. Um, Welcome. So I'm William. This is Star Cottage Studio and Allegory Gallery. I know we have some people already tuning in with us. Let's see. I see Marianne, Anita. Hello, Anita. It's from South Africa. Hello, Suzanne. Let's see. Susan is with us. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Kelly is with us. Hello, everyone. So it feels very dark here. I don't know why. It has been a wild day. We are getting ready to go to Memphis. And we've had a lot to do to get ready for that. So I spent most of today. Today is generally my only day off if Jen doesn't need me in the store. And thankfully, Jen did not need me in the store because I needed to do things all around the world today, it felt like. So we're getting ready for Memphis for the show at the Metal Museum that Andrew is in. We found out today that most of the show, or at least the reception for the show or whatever, is going to be outside. At some point between here and there, we're going to pack clothes that we have, but most of our, kind of more formal wear is suited for inside, whether it's the winter or it's air conditioned. That's what most of our clothes are for things like this. So somewhere along the way, we have to stop and possibly pick up some clothes. I know it sounds weird, right? But most of our stuff are like blazers and long pants, and I guess this is going to be a little bit more formal or informal, and it's going to be outside, but we still don't want to look like, like we pulled our shorts from that we bought 16 years ago and put those on. So we have to do that yet. I drove around. I had to stop in at my other job today real quick before we left. I had to run up to Johnstown and get the building situated up there. Then what else did I do? That was a giant trip around multiple counties. And then we have to get some groceries. I had to gas up the car, make sure the tires were, air in the tires was right, and get that all ready. Then I came back home, and this is all after like the daily stuff at home, right? You got to take the cats out for a walk in the morning, got to get them their food, got to tidy up the house a little bit. I did some tidying last night as well. And yeah, so then I came home and got these beautiful Lampwork glass pieces ready for y'all. We have a pretty large number of lots today, so I'm not going to spend too much time, even though I missed y'all, chatting here at the beginning. I say that, and then like an hour later, we're just getting into it. We'll see. But beautiful Lampwork glass. And also Andrew's paintings. You may see them kind of behind me here. We have 11 of Andrew's paintings to go into the online store tonight. He finished them up just before I left to come up here, and just before he left to go to Pittsburgh, because he's on his way to Pittsburgh at this very moment while I'm here with you all. He has a metals meetup in Pittsburgh tonight. So yeah, crazy. Hello, Susan. Hello, Amanda. Thank you all for tuning in. It's good to see you all here. June is with us. I don't know if I said that before. I don't think so. Maybe I did. My brain is still on high fire right now. High fire. Marianne says, not weird at all. I once shopped at one point in my sister's hometown before a trip to California. Yeah, it's crazy. We have, like I said, we have nice clothes if it's inside, like most formal or art openings are inside. This one, I guess most of the reception or whatever is going to be outside. It's supposed to be 91 degrees on Sunday in Memphis. I am going to melt down if I wear any type of formal wear that I have now. So, and we don't want to go looking like complete bums, right? Doing clothes that possibly, AG shirts. It's, you know, we can get a little more dressed up than that. So along the way, possibly once we get to Memphis, we'll stop in somewhere and grab something. But Andrew does have new shoes to debut. I got to see them today. Pretty fancy. So we'll make sure to get some pictures of Andrew's shoes as well. Amanda says it's very hot here, hotter than Orlando is right now. We are at 84 degrees today. I am like, I feel like I'm just dripping. Like I'm not. I'm in air conditioning now, thank goodness. It's hot out there. Be careful, y'all, because around here it is hot and it is dry. They were calling in the forecast for rain today, I think around this time, but there's not like a cloud in the sky. So I don't know if we're going to get any kind of rain today. And there's not rain in the forecast for like a week at least. Sorry, I haven't drank a lot of water today and I need to catch up. Plus, I have so many allergies right now happening in my brain and throat and nose that my throat is constantly itchy right now. Like the very back of your throat. Do you get allergies like that? When just like, even like my inner ears, like I can feel it back here, my inner ears and my back of my throat. I'm like moving my tongue along the back of my throat to try to scratch it. It is so itchy from inhaling pollen and it just settling in there. Yeah, it's crazy. Amanda says 91.4 Fahrenheit. Terrible. Yeah, that's what's going to be in Memphis when we're down there. I am not looking forward to that kind of heat. Hello, Barbara. Susan says Memphis is pretty much like St. Louis right now, disgustingly hot. Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan of that kind of heat, y'all. It's not my weather. It's not my time. Amanda says the ground here is cracking. It's so dry. It is very dry here. I had to mow. I felt so bad, but I had to mow the other day on Tuesday while I was waiting for Jen. Jen was running a little late to the filming on Tuesday, so I took the time to mow some grass, and I felt so bad doing it because the grass is so dry, but it's also still growing because here at Star Cottage Studio, most of our lawn is like a wildlife. It's not grass. It's like weeds if they were allowed to grow, and you know, like clovers and all those kind of things. It's in a field more than a lawn, and so they grow. They're growing still. It's starting to get a little less green right now. It's turning that yellowish green, but it's still growing. And if we went all the way for this weekend until we come back, and then we're picking up kittens when we come back, who knows when I'll get a chance to mow again. So I had to do it, but our ground is very dry. When we were pulling weeds from the flower beds, like the weeds that normally are really hard to get out of the ground, and they go really far with tap roots, and they're just like lifting out of this sandy soil. So I know a lot of the country needs rain right now, at least our country, probably your country too, from the sounds of it. So yeah, there's a lot of rain needed, but some places are getting a lot of rain, too much rain. I don't know. Needs to spread out a little bit, right? Barbara says, hot here in North Carolina, but we've been spoiled with a lovely spring, so I can't complain. No, we've had a wonderful spring. I don't necessarily, the heat's okay, fine. If I weren't doing a special event with no formal clothes or semi-formal clothes for that event. But the dry is bad. The spring was beautiful, but it was dry as well. The winter was dry, the spring was dry, and now it's still pretty dry. Susan says, I went to get tomato and pepper plants. It's so hot. I'm going to wait until it cools down on Monday to plant. Yeah, don't do it, Susan. Don't hurt yourself. Don't be out in this weather. It's too hot right now, and too dry. I don't blame you. I would wait too. Marion says, it's only about 72 here, but I walked to get a parcel. It was heavier than I thought, so I'm hot and sticky, icky, right? Yeah. 72 would be nice. I would love that. It's staying around 60 in the evenings here and in the 80s during the day. And the evenings are rough. They are rough. We need to get a fan in the bedroom. I think we brought all our fans here to the cottage. So if I think about it, before I leave tonight, I'm going to think to bring a fan home for the bedroom, because we have no fan. There's no ceiling fan in there, and the second floor of our house is hot, 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 hot. The bottom floor is pretty good. It's staying pretty cool. Top floor. And so we need to open the attic so that some of that hot air can find its way up there. Susan says air quality is poor right now. Take care. Oh, yes, it is. Pollen and bad air pollution. I don't know what our air quality is here. It doesn't tell me. Oh, air quality. Our air quality is 52. Moderate. So that's not too bad here, thankfully. Susan says we try to get the outside stuff done early still, but try to get it done fast. Yeah, if you get up early enough in the day, right, it's pretty nice out. When I take the cats out for a walk in the mornings, it's not too bad. But later, afternoon, not for this pale person, not me. This weather is not meant for me. Cheryl is with us. Hello, Cheryl. Says, hi, I just finished mowing half our yard and you feel the pollen attacking me. Hasn't rained in Milwaukee in forever. Not good. Yeah, we haven't had, I don't know when the last time we had rain here was. It's been a long time. And the forecast is just like sun, 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 partly cloudy, sun, sun. Today there was supposed to be an hour somewhere that it was going to rain, and it has not. Sue says, I can't wait to hear about the kittens. I know, it's getting here. It's getting here. Susan says, kittens, yeah, nice. Susan's kind enough to watch our babies while we're gone. I'm going to do some cat sitting, so we appreciate that. And yeah, so kittens, how about that? Andrew's like, they're already grown. They're not even kittens anymore. I think they'll still be fun. We just like to get them as early as possible so that they, they connect to us. And Barnaby and Gilbert were gotten a little bit after we got Paolo and Babette. And they've never been as, well, I shouldn't say that. Barnaby is very much a lap cat to me. He is very much my little boy. And he will hang out with me. He sleeps with me. He sits with me. Anytime I sit down on the couch, he comes up and sits with me. Gilbert, not so much. Gilbert has always been a little less affectionate. He's affectionate in his own way. But he is, I think it's because he has nervous energy. He just has nervous energy. Whoops, comment skipped. Amanda says, the mosquitoes are also really bad too. I don't understand why. It's been so dry. I have not hardly seen a mosquito here, so I can't agree with that here. Of course, I'm not outside a lot, but when we were out doing the yard work, I didn't see hardly any bugs. Bees pollinating, thank goodness, but didn't see a lot of bugs. Marion says, we had thunderstorms 2 nights in a row. Oh, that must be so nice. I would love to have a thunderstorm at night and cool it down and hopefully not muggy it up even more, right? Anita says, we have had a mild winter so far. Yeah, our last winter was very mild, exceptionally mild, and very dry. So that's not good for the rainwater. Our friends in town, they have a shop in town that's connected to a house, and they used to live there when they were younger, and then they bought a house out in the woods somewhere, probably. I don't know. I've never been to that house. But they have a spring that feeds their, feeds them water at their forest house, their woods house. And they have none. They had to go to the laundromat to do laundry. They had to come in and use the house in town to shower and get ready. So it's very dry here. Some people's wells are drying up. The springs are drying up. It's very dry. It's very dry. Thank goodness we have city water. I appreciate that. We're trying not to, overdo our usage of water. We haven't been watering our plants outside very much at all. They're kind of fending for themselves, and I hate to do that to them, but that's what we have to do, right? We'll empty the dehumidifier on them every once in a while, but that's about all. Let's see here. Suzanne, already the second tropical depression. Not good. Not good. Susan says, said on the news today, we haven't had rain since May 20th. That's a long time. I mean, not to have any rain, any precipitation at all. And then the precipitation we had around then, I don't think was even that much either. Susan says, we've had a 30% change of storms, which means 0 chance where I'm at. I have too much Celtic DNA for this stuff. I know, right? I know. Marion says, it took years to make my cats lap cats. Yeah, Paolo and Babette got them when they were itty bitty little babies. And they were just, every night pretty much, they would come on the couch with us if we were watching TV or sitting in the living room, and they would come and sit down with us, and then they would sleep in the bed with us almost every night. Once it gets really hot like this, then they usually don't cuddle up in the bed too much. But yeah, they were very much from the beginning. And Barnaby with me has been. And Gilbert does cuddle up with Andrew in the evenings, but not as much as he would like, right? I always want more kitty time. Susan says, that's like Phil with me. He could, with me when I read at night, Smokey will plant himself on my lap and gets put out if I move. Yeah. Yeah. Barnaby, he sits on my lap, but if I have to move, he just jumps up. He's like a little battery. I can tell they're getting a little bit older. His battery's not quite as quick as it used to be. He needs a little rustling time. He's just jump right off my lap at the slightest movement. But he gets up and down, up and down, and up and down. But he also knows that when I get up, if he's been sitting with me for a while, he usually gets a little treat or gets to go downstairs for a special trip downstairs, which I don't get to do very often. So they do that. Hello, Norma says, joining late. I was on the phone with my brother planning logistics for my nephew's wedding in August. Whew, an August wedding. Talk about hot. But congratulations to them. We have a Facebook user here saying, hi, William. I don't know who you are. Every once in a while, if you don't know, on StreamYard, it helps to go to streamyard.com/Facebook, and you can re-authenticate your name and picture so I can see it on here. Every once in a while, it goes away. You have to redo it, which I think is a good thing. It's making sure that you need to, you really want this and it doesn't just stick out there forever. Hello, Sandra. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you here. Lena says, I'm watching this on the bed with the kittens. The introduction to the cats didn't go well, so we took a step back and we were hanging out in the guest room. Yeah, that's what I'm a little bit worried about. We'll see. I don't know how this introduction is going to go, but we are getting a very large pen. It's made out of wood. It has holes so they can see out of, and it's large enough that the 3 kittens could go in with their own little litter box if there is an issue and we have to separate them in any way, or at night to keep them, you never know how bigger cats are going to react. So if we have to keep them separated at night or when we're sleeping, whether that's during the day or at night for us, we have this so we can keep them kind of separate if we need to. Or we will be getting that. My brother has it, I guess. Susan says, sometimes Smokey will grump if I disturb his comfort, right? Barnaby generally doesn't. He gets a little, he does that little noise when you wake him up out of his sleep, but then he just jumps and goes. Gilbert, if you wake him up and move him, he generally does not come back. He holds a little bit of a grudge. You won't see him for a little while again. Norma says, August wedding in Malibu, so ocean breezes, I hope. Oh, that'll be nice. Hopefully that'll be really nice. Yeah. Marion says, I get disgusted looks from Sif if I wake her up. Right? Sandra says, how many kittens? 3. I've already forgotten their names. Tallulah, Georgie, I think. Georgie? I can't remember now. See? My brain. And I don't know which one's which. Andrew has already named them and knows which one is which one. I know Tallulah. I know which one is Tallulah. The other 2, I've not gotten to see enough of, and they're pretty similar from what I can tell. Georgiana, Georgiana, and one was going to be Greta, but I think that changed to Georgiana. And now I can't think of the other name. Oh, well. Oh, well. Sandra says, wow, adventurous, like y'all don't have enough to do. I know. But we had 4 before, and it felt like a nice, the house feels a little bit empty. Even though after Paolo and Babette passed, it felt really empty for a while, and it's kind of come back from that. It feels less empty now, but it still feels a little, it still feels like there's a presence missing. So hopefully it won't be too much. We'll see. They need a home anyway. So Susan says, when we brought Phil home, he hissed at Smokey, who ran off. After about a week, Phil would start trilling at Smokey, like, big bro, you're too cool. That's good. Yeah, we're hoping everything works out. When we brought Gilbert and Barnaby home, Babette and Paolo, they pretty much separated onto separate floors. So I think it was the little kids who stayed upstairs mostly, and we locked them in the bathroom for the most part, put a litter box in there and some food and water, and got them used to everything in the bathroom for years. And even now you'll sometimes see them laying, they'll go in the bathroom to lay down, which I think is from that. But they really didn't, it wasn't that they didn't like attack or chase or that much. They just didn't get along. And then finally, I think they got used to all the smells in the house combining, and that stuff animals, cats have to do. And within a week or two, they were pretty much mingling and fine and eating off the same plates. They all get fed on the same plate. Although that plate may be crowded with 5. We did sometimes have to do 2 plates, but same food area. Norma says, good to have a place to contain the kittens. I had to contain Waldo and Pepper overnight as kittens to prevent shenanigans and get some sleep. And Mischief was not amused. They all get along now. Yeah, I think they all get along in time, right? They all get along in time. Hopefully, right? I've heard horror stories. We don't need that. If you're watching right now, please hit the thumbs up or hit the like button or the love button. I have 2, looks like 2 people hit the love button. So please hit those. That really does help. I know people think it's crazy. It helps. And I keep saying this, if you don't see someone on Facebook for a while and you're like, oh, I'm going to go to their profile and check them out. Oh, they've been posting every day. I just don't see it. Go like about 15 of their posts. It's going to look a little creepy maybe, but if you like 15 of their posts, within the next few days, you will start seeing their posts more. So the more you like our stuff, the more you'll see it more often. I know there are some of you who see our stuff a lot, and we appreciate that. That means you interact with us a lot, and Facebook knows that, and they want you to keep interacting with us. That's how that works. And so the more you do that, the better for all of us. You get to see good stuff. We get, people to see us. That's always nice. And if you share, that's really good. That might help us find new people. We work pretty much 95% of our people, our friends, our customers, our support, all comes from word of mouth. We have 8,000 some people on Facebook that follow us, and all of those people pretty much came by word of mouth or getting to know us, seeing us at shows. Very rarely in the course of the 12, 13 years we've had the store, what is it now, going on 13 in a few months, have we ever paid for an ad. Every once in a while I try it. We give it a try, see if it works. It generally doesn't, so then we stop. And I know you're supposed to do that, like long term, and that's what they tell you. And then what if it never works? Then you spend all that money for nothing. What if it really does work? Well, you gotta have enough money to find out. And we would rather save you all money than incorporate a ton of advertising into our product prices. So help us, please. Share, hit the thumbs up. Make sure you comment. When you see our posts every once in a while, share one of those. The more you interact with us, the more you will see from us. And that helps us all, I think, if you like what we do. Hello, Vanessa. You're joining just in time. We are just getting started, or we're climbing over that hill from the intro to the fun showing of goods. We're just about there. We're cresting the hill. So how about we get started? I have a lot of lots for y'all. I have about 50, I think, today, and we have more. So we're going to look at Lampwork Glass today. And this is going to be a little bit different because we are not going to be letting you know who made the Lampwork Glass. So there are reasons for this. We've been asked not to. So we are helping someone unnamed to part with their Lampwork Glass collection. All right. So they don't want to be named. They asked us not to name the lampwork makers. You know, some people get really weird if you're selling their stuff, right? So this person who is selling off the collection doesn't want to hurt any feelings, or it's just something that they have to do at this moment. And so they don't want word getting around that this could be their collection. All right, so that's why we think we've priced it really well. We're helping these people part with this, and yeah, that's about it. So I can't tell you who made the glass because if all these pieces come together and somebody finds out, and then this person feels bad because they had to sell this collection, we don't want any of that happening. So we're doing what we were asked to do. I'm not saying whose collection it is, and we're not saying who the beads belong to, because if that gets out, that's not great, right? We don't want any hard feelings. Susan says, "Whoa, 50 lots. Yeah, it's gonna be a good bit. It'll be a good bit." Barbara says, "Shout out to your Patreon. I can't always buy beads, but I give $3 and it's like buying you a coffee." I appreciate it. We all appreciate it here. Yes, the Patreon. It's actually in Star Cottage Studios name right now. And I think I have throw it up for a few moments. Patreon.com/Star Cottage Studio. There's a few different levels you can choose from. There's a few different options there, levels you can choose from. It's a monthly reoccurring charge until you stop it. You can stop it at any time, but it does help us. We purchase things from that fund for Star Cottage Studio. Come in time, we will probably morph this one into a larger one to encompass more of what we do for those of you who want to support us and get different perks. We have found help in the store for Mondays and Tuesdays. So Monday is technically going to be a day off for me, but also a day where Andrew and I can film tutorials for YouTube from him. And they're going to be pre-recorded. So it will be more like what we do at Jen. It's like, let's just get started in the tutorial. The tutorial, no talking, no interacting. It's going to be quick down and dirty tutorials. And I think that's going to be great. We are applying for a grant to hopefully increase our filming capabilities. We're excited about that. Hopefully we get it. We're hoping to get a new camera and some new microphones for our tutorials and doing more of this recording. So a lot of those will go for free. It's going to be free stuff to watch on YouTube, but we may morph some of the tutorials into see them first on the Patreon, or maybe we'll even roll that because YouTube has a membership area. I don't know what we're going to do. We don't necessarily usually like to restrict content too much completely, but doing a get it here first kind of thing might be something like we do, and we'll do other things maybe. So this is what it is right now. Patreon.com/Star Cottage Studio. I don't know if we can change the name of that later if we want to change it, but we may morph into another one. So, but you can still support this one. It helps us a lot. Like I said, we purchase things for Star Cottage Studio generally, specifically, and usually Andrew writes about what we've done. We've gotten some ventilation hoods recently. We've done some maintenance. So usually, you know, it's good stuff. So thank you. Thank you out there. Thank you, Barbara. Let's see here. Susan says, today's 25 years since a tornado hit Mount Washington in Pittsburgh. My goodness. Let's not have tornadoes, please. Vanessa says, ooh, mystery glass, right? Hello, Harry. Thanks for joining in. Good to see you here. Susan remembers the tornado. Other Susan says that's understandable for the glass. Yeah. It's just like I said, keeping everything hush hush, right? Hush hush. Marian says fingers crossed for better equipment. Thank you. Yeah. It's going to be exciting if we can get it. We're going to get a real camera. We have one, but it, I don't know if you know, it's a weird thing with cameras, mirrorless and DSLRs. Many of them can only record up to 30 minutes. It's usually 29 minutes and 59 seconds of video. And there is a reason for that, being that when they are produced and sent to the country, there's something about taxes, or I don't know, I forget what it is exactly, whether it's a tariff or a tax of some sort, and whether it's here or if it's in Europe, I don't remember. But if they go beyond 30 minutes, they're considered a video camera. And that's a whole different level of camera, I guess. That's what I've read. So I'm like, so now finally things are starting to go that way. And I don't know what has changed. But many of them also start overheating once you get up over that point. So we're hoping to get a camera that shoots video longer than 30 minutes. And any of the lenses that we have will be compatible with that. There's an adapter. So we're getting a newer camera, hopefully. New microphone that we'll be able to permanently have here and just have a filming setup ready to go all the time. Barbara says, I really suggest you do that, merge all to the Patreon. I don't care where it goes because it all rolls around and benefits the making. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to try. We're going to get, I think, Butcher Block Gallery in there and Allegory Gallery itself, and kind of be able to do more with, you know, publicizing that. You know, I hate to say it, but I think a lot of people, you know, they lost. Once we did so many improvements to Star Cottage Studio here, I think a lot of people just lost interest in that. We still work on it here and there. We still do things to it, but I don't know that it itself is enough to carry on that. And most of you all who watch us all the time know for sure, like, we do a lot. But if you just see Star Cottage Studio, people think it's just going for that, which right now it is. The money goes toward that, but I think we can roll stuff together anyway. So that's probably what we're going to do at some point. During a restructuring, we're going to restructure everything at some point too, which is fun, right? Yeah. So I hope you're all well. I missed you all. It's been, well, since last Friday. It's been a week. It's been 7 days since I saw y'all. But we did do a creative make-along last Friday. That was fun. And some of you posted your projects, so thank you for that. And yeah, so let's flip this camera around and get this show on the road. See, I said it was going to be a quick entrance into this. It wasn't quite an hour, 40 minutes, but I did it in under an hour at least. Whoa, this stand is, whoa, what's happening here? There we go. What is happening? This stand has so many points where it twists and turns and is able to change direction. And sometimes they get more wonky than you think. I think it's this one, ultra wide. Yeah. Oh, okay, y'all. So if you would like to claim any of these, same as before, same as most of everything lately. Take down the lot number, send it to us in an email. And of course, if you like what we do, like I said before, please like, share, subscribe, and follow us everywhere. So I'm going to show you these, and then depending on where we are at the end of this, First I have to plug in my phone. Oh no. I'm going to run into the other room because I think Andrew took the phone charger over there. I'll be right back. This may be shorter than we all think if I can't get the phone charger. Crisis averted, y'all. I found it. Let me plug this in. Do I feel a little bit frazzled? I am. I am. All right. Let's see here. What do we got going? Do I have a penny? But all my pennies have been hijacked. All my pennies have been hijacked. I don't have one, y'all. Sorry. Do I have a ruler? I do. I have a ruler, though. Susan says, I have 12 cats. Amazingly, they all get along, and they all love my golden retriever. How did I not know you had a golden retriever, Susan? How did I not know that? I never see your golden retriever out when I run by. I didn't know that. I knew you had a lot of cats. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. But I'm thankful you love cats since you're going to be helping to watch our cats while we're gone. So thank you again. Okay, these are LW lots, Lampwork lots. So Lampwork 1. This lot is going to be $18. There is only one of each lot, y'all. So whoever gets it, the email into us first, gets the lot. That's how this works. Once you send us the email, they are time-stamped. We go by the timestamp of the email. We let technology sort it out for us. And we will invoice you then. All right? You all know this anyway. Let me bring this light a little bit closer, though, because I feel like it needs to be a little bit brighter over here. We have these, everybody. This is lot LW1. $18 for these. These are fully coated little glass beads with the flowers. Susan says, I have a golden retriever and 2 Yorkapoos. Wow. How did I not know that? I didn't even know you had dogs at all. Crazy, right? And it's so quiet over there. Like, I never hear your dogs barking or anything. So aren't these beautiful? I love these. Love these, love these. LW1, $18 for the 2. This is not each, y'all. So whatever you see on the mat is the whole lot. Mostly they're just 1 bead. Some of them are 2. Oh, I brought my golden to your wedding. I guess I do remember. That day was a little bit wild, though, too. But maybe I just thought you were watching. I don't know if I realized it was yours. Barbara says, William, prepare for the litter and cat food budget to double. Oh, don't I know it. We've never really laid off the budget that much since Paolo and Babette passed. So we have a pretty full under sink cabinet full of food. We did, after Paolo passed, we did convert we only feed them wet food. And they say that's better for cats if you can do it. So we did that. So our food budget stayed around the same, but it's probably going to go up a little bit once we add more. Once we add more, but we'll see. We'll see how that budget increases or doubles or triples. We'll see. Kitten food is usually higher in protein too. Yeah, we got to stock up on special kitten food. Aren't these lovely? And this is LW2. It's $12. Beautiful. I like this purple with the beige on the bottom. Susan says we have to tub our boys' food, otherwise they'll rip into it. Yeah. Our kids have always been really good that way. They don't really tear into the food too much. But now we don't have any dry food for them to tear into, so it's all canned. So now they can't do that. Can't do that. Hello, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. I'm just getting here. We're just on the second lot out of 50. So we're doing Lampwork Glass today, if you're just tuning in. This is Lampwork lot LW3 and $24 for all of this. I told you, I think we have good prices. Barbara says, I'm currently scouring Amazon for my cat harness. My baby busted out the screen yesterday. We live on a busy road, so there's no outside nature unless they are leashed. Yeah, we have a little bit of a backyard, thankfully, so we trained them. They know their boundaries now. We've been out there enough. They know, you see them getting mischievous when they know they're pushing outside their boundaries. But they also know where to run to, the back door, if they hear a loud noise or if anything starts chasing them. And when we are out with them, because they never go out on their own, when we were out with them, we always leave the back door open so they can run in if they need to. But we watch them like very closely too. This is all just $24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads. 7 beads. But yeah, we tried to get a harness. I wanted to get a leash and harness for Barnaby because Gilbert's a little bit he's a little bit anxious. So when they were really young, I wanted to get them a harness and leash for him because I thought he could be a very good outside cat. We could take him for walks and all that. Well, he's such a skinny boy, and he eats a lot, but he's such a skinny boy that he can get out. I bought the harness. I paid extra, got the nicer harness that says it's not able to be, they can't get out of it. Well, all he did is threw up his front hands out in front of him and backed out of it. And that was it. I was like, oh, that's great. And it scared him more to have that on than to just take them out without it. So we just do that. But we're lucky because we do have a little bit of ground. Susan says, and they will push boundaries. Yeah, they do. We have to keep a close eye on them. And when we have the girls, we're definitely not going to be having 5 cats outside at once. They're going to have to take turns. So, but we'll want to get them used to it too. And we just do that because because they did bust out of our screen one time. And I came home from work. Andrew, I think, was away, or maybe, where was he? I think he was away. And I came home and the screen was knocked out of the kitchen window, which now has the catio in it. But the screen was knocked out and all 4 cats were missing. And I panicked because I had no idea how long they were out for. And from that moment on, I'm like, we are taking them outside because they were freaking out too. I ended up finding most of them. They were hiding in the bushes around the house. Thankfully, they didn't go far. I'd been walking all over the neighborhood calling them and came back and they're hiding in the bush right by the house. Of course, I was too panicked to look too closely, so I started running around just to make sure they weren't down by the highway. That's my first instinct. And so I said, from now on, we're taking them out, watching them closely, and getting them used to their area so that if they do fall out of the screen again, they know what is theirs. They know where they are. They're very used to this area now. They go out almost every day. And they know how to get back in, or at least to go to the back door. This is LW4, $24 for all 4 of those beads. Lena says, how do you train them to do that without a harness? Very, very carefully. It started taking them out one at a time, and I would hold them and walk out with them. And I would usually set them down on the back porch and allow them to smell around the back porch. And we'd kind of, if they started getting too quick, too fast, I make loud noises so that it kind of shocks them a little bit. Not too loud that they get too scared because then they run away. And we just take them, we started one at a time, taking them out one at a time, taking them around. As they got a little more adventurous, I would watch them like a hawk. And you got to watch them from a little bit of a distance, because if you're too close sometimes, and they start doing something wrong and you make a noise, they'll run away from you. So I give them a little bit of a boundary, a little bit, and keep them mostly to the backyard, because though our front yard is tiny, and the road in the front is much busier than, even though it's not that busy, thankfully, than the road in the back. It's not until they would go down the hill by a house or two that the main highway comes through, and that's bad news. But yeah, little by little, letting them smell around. When they go out of their boundary, I pick them up and put them back in. No matter how many times they do it, they go out, I pick them up, I put them back in, and they start to learn, if I go there, I'm going to get pulled back in, so that's not my land. So that's what we did. And thankfully for all 4 of our cats that we've had so far here, it worked. So these 2 are $10 LW5. So you're probably like, why are you talking about training cats instead of the beads? That's what we do here, right? Sometimes. Hello, Bonnie. Thanks for joining in. Anita says, my daughter has a Maine Coon. He walks on the harness most of the time. Yeah, I wish I could get them on a harness, because I could take them further. I could take Barnaby especially, because he's less afraid. I could take them further, but I won't take them out of our yard without a harness, and he backs out of his little harness, even though he's not supposed to. I got the smallest size, and I got what was supposed to be inescapable, and he escaped it within like the first 2 minutes of being outside. Barbara says, that's why I'm reticent, but that's a life with cats. Don't know what that refers to, but yeah, it is a life with cats, right? These are really pretty. They're a very nice peachy color, with these little white flower designs on the outside, or swirls. Look like flowers to me. This is LW6, $18 if you'd like these. Now again, if you're just joining in, this Lampwork collection is being sold through us for someone else. This someone has asked us not to name them, nor to on air name the people who made these beads. So we are, some people, that may not seem understandable, but sometimes people get upset when they see people selling off their collections, or selling, and their beads are in those collections. So nobody wants anything traced anywhere. This person has to do this, so we are helping out. These are gold fumed beads, so they are more money. These are LW7. Let me get you, let's see if I can get you up good and close. These are beautiful fumed beads. Gold fumed, maybe even a little gold leaf in there too. Beautiful beads. These are $40 for the strand of 6, LW7. Hello, Lorraine. Thank you. Susan says, these beads are all amazing. Thank you. I think they are really nice. This was a nice collection. Susan says, no one is going out this weekend. No. But if they do go out, this is what I always say. When when my mom, if she watches the cats, anybody who watches our cats, if they do happen to get out, sometimes, it's never happened with a sitter because they're usually too afraid. But if they get used to you, sometimes they'll hover around the door and they'll try to get out. If they do get out, the best thing to do is open the back door really wide and kind of go around the corner where they can't see you, or start to make clapping noises maybe, and away from the door, go out the front door, come around, make clapping noises. They should run in the back door. So that is, always try to let people know that. If they get out the back, when you open the door, because they're quick sometimes if they want to be, cats are cats. If you go out the front door and come around and kind of clap just a little bit and leave the back door really wide open, they'll come back in the house generally. They know that danger means they run in the back door. That's the way it works here. All right, here is LW8. You're getting a lot. This is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 beads for $42. 13 beads, LW8 for $42. Aren't they pretty? They're kind of simple, but they remind me kind of cupcakes. Like they got the plain bottom, but they got the frosted top. That's what they remind me of. And of course, when you set them down, all the plain bottoms just pop out. So there they are. They look like that. LW8, $42. Vanessa says, does anyone have experience with Sphinx cats? Are their behaviors the same or hard to take care of? I almost had one once, but we never went through with it. And but you do have to bathe them more often. You bathe them a lot, I think, and take care of their skin because it can dry out, from what I understand. Susan says, I took a couple classes at the Greensburg Glass Center, but I'm too much of a chicken working with the open flame that close. It's not bad. I've done it once or twice and made lampwork beads, but I kind of like it. But I don't know. I always thought as a kid I would really love it, but I'm not sure that I really love it. Susan says, I always wanted to take the glass blowing in Pittsburgh. Yeah, the glass blowing might be more fun for me. I don't know. Marion says, awesome prices. I think these are awesome prices, right? I think they are. LW9. This one is $8. I think those are supposed to be flowers in there. They're a little bit, hopefully you can see that. They're a little bit mushed, I would say. So this one, we did $8 on it. It's still a pretty bead, no matter what. But I think they're a little bit mushed more than I would want them at a higher price. All right, I think I'm caught up in the comments. Oh, Susan says, talking to Susan. Susan talking to Susan about taking classes. So I think I'm caught up. And hopefully I go in the order, y'all. I put these in my bag in the order of the lot numbers. But if they get out of order, just ignore it. It's still going to count no matter what number you put. No matter what number it is, if they're out of order when I show them here. Because these bags are starting to get... all these bags that I have these in are all folded in half, so they all start to fall and get uneven and all that. So if I put out like number 12 next and go back to 11, just ignore it. We'll just do the numbers as they come up. This one's really cool, LW10. I love all the different colors on top of this. So you have like the amber and some blues, some green over here, some clear. And the hole goes that way. I should be showing you the holes on these too, but the hole goes that way. I think that's a cool bead. Only 12 bucks. 12 bucks. LW10. If you want anything, send us an email with that lot number. There's only one of each lot. And everything I set down, like the last few for the stainless steel, like for example, this one, we had it $18 each. These are not 18 each. This is 18 for the pair. 18 for the pair. Which I think getting really good prices on these for Lampwork Glass, especially these days. So there we go. Holes go that way. LW11, $18. I think this is a good time. If you enjoy Lampwork Glass, this is a good time to get it from us because these prices are really good. And I will be invoicing pretty quickly. Oh, I think I missed Suzanne. Was it you? I think you asked if we are shipping these. Yes, we are shipping these out directly for the person. So these will ship from us. I think I saw that comment and I meant to talk about it and I don't think I did. So yes, these will ship from us. And I will try. I have to edit the Saturday morning tutorial tonight. We've had internet problems at the house. We've been waiting about 8 days for them to get back to us about getting our internet restored. So I finally called them again today. And I'm like, we're leaving for the weekend. So if you call over the weekend, we're not going to be available or even next Monday. And they said, well, the tech guys, like, I don't do the scheduling, so they'll call you. Well, while I was running around doing errands today, of course, they stopped at the house. And Andrew wasn't around, or he was, I think he finally took a nap. So by the time he heard them knocking on the door and got himself ready and rousted out of bed, they had already gone. So we are waiting. I got to call them back now again and reschedule for next week. But I can't do hardly anything at home. So I'm going to try and get the Saturday morning tutorial out. We've been working on our cell phones, but I got the notice on my text this morning saying, you're using a lot of data. If you keep using a lot of data, we're going to slow your speeds down. Even though you have unlimited data. You'll have unlimited data, but they will be slower little datas going through. So I can't do too much from my phone anymore from home. So I got to edit the video probably from home and then drive down to the store to upload it tonight, most likely, because I want to have cell service and fast cell service for the Memphis trip. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff, y'all, happening at once. I love this bead. It's $20, LW13. Hole goes this way. Beautiful, beautiful, bright, floral, fun, good for summer and spring, gorgeous, or chase those blues away in the winter, right? $20, LW13. First email that gets sent in for each lot gets it. And so I think the moral of that story I was trying to tell you is I'm going to try to invoice for these tonight. So we'll see. We'll see. Bonnie says, that's too bad. Can't believe how the internet and cell service is also changing. Yeah, you know, we're very lucky. I can't complain. We use a lot of data, y'all. So you probably can imagine streaming every day. And when you start doing that on cellular instead of on Wi-Fi, it can be a lot. My text message, I think, said I used 39 gigabytes of data in about a week's time. Because I think my bill renews on the 25th of this month, they said. So if I use more than 50 by the 25th of this month, so I got, what, 10, 11 gigabytes left. If I use that, then my speeds may slow down during peak hours or congested times. Who knows what that actually means? We've never had to try it out, but we're hot spotting like crazy. And of course, that means all our batteries are running dead much more quickly too. This is LW14, $9. It's a beautiful bead. So we're very lucky. Normally our internet has no issues, ever. But it does appear that our box, our internet modem, finally died. And they keep trying to tell us, like, it's the router, I've tried a different router. They're like, it's not pulling an IP address. You should try to make sure your router's plugged into the right port. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know that I'm 43, and maybe you expect people 43 not to know anything about technology, but I know a little bit. I know which plug to plug in. LW15. This one I love a lot, and we priced this really well too. $32. I think this one is gorgeous. I love these lumpy, bumpy ones. Fairly decent size hole. I'm going to say that's probably good enough for 2mm leather to go through. Yeah, it's just about over a 2mm hole. I love these iridescent blue and kind of greenish, almost looks like labradorite on there. So that is LW15, $32. I'm doing these a little quick, I know that. But I have 50 of them to go over today, so that's why I'm doing them quick. So if you need to rewatch anything, you can. You can rewatch later. You can also, if you're on YouTube, you can rewind while we're live. Facebook doesn't allow that, but YouTube does. You can rewind while we're live and then jump back and catch back up. But just remember, if you stay rewound and you comment, it will comment now. So I may not know what you're talking about because we've already moved past it and you're living in the past. So go live in the past if you need to, and then come back to the future, right? Michelle says we need to change our router. It's slowing our connection. Yeah, we bought new routers for everything, I love the Google routers. As much as I'm an Apple person, they stopped making the Apple routers, so I bought the Google ones, and I love them. You can check on them from anywhere. So that's that, right? LW16, $8 for this little bead. This has a mostly plain back. That's why it's a little less money, but beautiful flowers on it there. $8. Lennis is still trying to catch up. I still need stainless steel charms. Yeah, those, the first batch of stainless steel charms, we sold out of a lot of them. I thought I was going to have a lot for the store, but we may have to buy more for the store. The second batch, there were more available. I think fewer people saw the second show on those. So if you missed the second stainless steel show, we still have some of those available. And they are numbered in a way that if you order, I will know if it's from the first show or the second show. Thank goodness. I thought ahead a little bit. Monty says, I will have to rewatch. I missed a lot. Rewatch, everybody. Make sure you catch those rewatches. We've been doing a lot. And business has been, I will say, mostly incredibly slow. I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods, if you sell things, if it's been slow for you, but I've had 0 online sales for the past probably week. I think there was 1 or 2 of those. We had 1 or 2 sales maybe in the last 7 days in the online store. Not counting for the Memorial Day sale, just so you know, y'all, I sold probably 5 sales. I had 5 sales for the whole 3 or 4 day weekend that we did. It's crazy slow right now. The store, thankfully, is picking up a little bit, the physical store, but it is still pretty slow. Jen was there today with classes. I think we had 1 person come in for classes, and not a lot of sales. It's just been that way. And I think the whole thing for us is the talk of the debt ceiling, because I remember this happening a few years ago. They had this same thing happen where they waited till the very end to do the debt ceiling, you know, stuff. And once that went through, people started spending again. People started buying again. It just freaks people out. So we have been doing a lot of videos. There is still a lot of stuff left on the videos that we've been doing. For the most part. So if you have not watched, that's what I'm getting around to saying. Please do check them out. Nora says, my internet has been very in and out the last couple days. It's usually great. I think I need to reboot. Yeah, every once in a while I got to reboot that router. Sometimes reboot the modem too. And usually reboot the modem and the router. Plug in the modem first, let it get up and going, then plug in the router. And then usually that helps. Maybe your router and modem is the same thing. It can be sometimes. Marianne says that would be back to now, not the future. Not if you're in the past. Then you got to go back to the future because you haven't seen it yet. It's our now, but it's their future because they're in the past. That's what I'm going to say anyway. Michelle says we have 2 computers, 2 PlayStations, and 5 phones. 5 phones? We have a lot. We do have a lot. I have a lot, I should say. Andrew has a phone. Andrew has a phone. That's what Andrew uses. He has a computer here at the cottage, but at home, he has a phone. At home, I have a desktop, a laptop, 2 tablets, a phone, and 2 watches. Yeah, that's what I have for just me. It's a little overkill sometimes, but they each serve different purposes for me. Mostly though, I use my laptop. That's anymore. I went for years without a laptop thinking I didn't need one. and now it's the device I use the most. This is LW18. This is $30. This is, Andrew said, he told me, let me think, it's a metallic type of glass they use, and he says he believes there's also some gold flake possibly in this as well, like as a layer. I think it's a really cool bead. I don't know if you can get the feel of it over the camera really well, but it's a really cool bead. LW18, $30. Michelle says not counting cable and everything else, right? We have a lot of devices these days. At least some of us do, especially if you're running a business on them or creative in that way. Anita says, we have changed to fiber, and it's amazing how quick our connection is now. Unfortunately, we can't use it as much as our country is having severe power problems. That's sad. Yeah, we have fiber. We have fiber internet at the house and at the store, but the cottage, they don't come up in this area here. This is a little bit less, it's a little bit more rural, so they don't come up here to the cottage. So we have regular internet. But the nice thing about fiber is that it's the same upload speeds as download. Most of the time they advertise the download speeds. If you look at like Xfinity and most places, if it's not fiber, they're really going to push you on the download speeds. But if you ask them what the upload speeds are, they're usually slow. And for us doing as many videos as we do, we need the higher upload speeds to make sure that we don't get that, you know, that constant disconnect when we're talking to you, like is happening sometimes when we're on our cellular lately. So we pay for quite a large internet package so that we make sure we have the upload here at the cottage. At the house, because the fiber is what the fiber is, you don't have to pay as much to get that same kind of service. Lena says that was just bad timing for me with the flooding, but sorry I missed the memorial sale. Hey, we get it. Jeez. We just were surprised. We were very surprised by that more than anything. But it's just the big thing out there. People weren't spending. People aren't spending lately. And I really do believe it's all this debt ceiling talk here in the US because people get worried about the stock market, and if our country is rated as a lower credit rating, what does that mean for everybody? It's a lot of stuff to think about, but it happens every time they talk about the debt ceiling. And I'm like, you know, they're going to make this work. They don't want to lose money. They have too much invested in tons of places. But of course, if you have money right now and the investments are low, that's when you buy, right? Rich people, they get to buy more right now while everything's low, and then they make tons more money. That's how that happens, right? Not to get conspiracy thinking or anything. Bonnie says, I'm sorry to hear that. The problem for me is medical bills lately, no cash flow. I know. There's a lot. Sandra says, at least the debt ceiling thing was approved. Was it totally through? I have not read the news today. As of last night, I know that it's passing through various chambers, but I hadn't heard that it was signed officially. I just hope there's not too much that's hurting people with Social Security and Medicaid and all that. Sanders is incredibly slow here too. Marianne says, no router for me. You don't have a wireless router? Is it built into your modem? You don't have wireless? You plug into everything? Susan says, we're the only country that has a debt ceiling of that nature. Oh, really? I didn't know that, which is such a weird thing. And to think, like, okay, are they really going to let it hurt our country's credit rating? And who really is in charge when an entire country has to worry about their credit rating? That tells you how important or how big the banks are, right? Who's determining what our credit rating as a country, and how does that actually work, right? Banks and all. LW21, $8 for this little bead. Only $8. Student says, I can't read articles on my phone. My iPad is much better for reading. That's my problem. Andrew has a bigger phone than me because I refuse to get the really honking big phones. They're just not convenient for me. I actually wish my phone sometimes were a little smaller. I want a full-featured phone, but I want it smaller. And most companies just don't do that. Apple. They have a nice smaller phone, but it's not as full featured. So the cameras aren't as good, and I need the cameras. But yeah, I have to read on a bigger screen. I have a really hard time, or writing when I'm typing. You know how long Andrew's posts are. Y'all see Andrew's posts. They're long. He types every one of them on his phone. Pretty much every single one of them. He just sits there and types on his phone. I would go crazy. I have tried. And then inevitably I'll get to the end of the post and I'm posting on Facebook and I hit post and it fails to post, and then it doesn't save all that I wrote. So now when I am posting on most anything, if I know it's going to be a long post, I write it in Apple Notes first because that auto saves, and then I copy and paste it over to Facebook. I have lost way too many posts on Facebook that way. LW22, $24. Beautiful, beautiful big bead. Beautiful Lampwork Glass. If you're just tuning in, we are selling this Lampwork Glass, helping someone out by selling this. And we're not naming names today, y'all. So sorry about that. Can't give you names, but I can give you good prices, hopefully, and you can get some good stuff. We will be invoicing these later tonight. So if you do see something you like, get your order in by then. I'm going to try my best to invoice tonight before we hit the road for Memphis, just to have my head clear. Have my head clear. Marion says, such an amazing bead. These are beautiful. That is my favorite. This is just the last one. I may be way behind. Diane says, my daughter said that reminds her of the book from Hocus Pocus. Really? I don't know. Oh, I do kind of remember that book. It's been a long time. But I don't know what beat it is because I'm behind in the comments. I'm catching up trying to. Michelle says, 5 people, 5 phones. Sue says, yes, the Senate approved it. Oh, good. Michelle says, summer is really bad here. For us, they're always turning off the power because of fire prevention or from overuse. Yeah, that's why I'm trying. Like, we haven't plugged in the air conditioner units yet. We're trying not to use too much water because we know there's not a lot of water in the ground. We're trying to be good. So this is LW23. It's 3 beads together, $18. You get this one here with mostly plain back. It has some vines wrapping around. And then you get these 2 little semi-rounds with little floral designs on them with that. LW23, $18. Sanders is officially signed. Good. Marion says, wireless, yes, but only the modem. So your modem and router are together. A lot of times, Xfinity, Comcast, and a lot of those big companies do that because it's just easier for people. It's just easier than having 2 separate things. Susan says, some people in power on power trips, they couldn't care less if the car crashes. Yeah, I think so in some ways, but I also think they're making a lot of money. If you got money to invest when the markets are down, you make a lot of money off of this stuff. We ain't those people. Susan says, how does Andrew do that on a tiny phone? That would strain my eyes too much. I know. His phone is the biggest. He gets the biggest iPhone they make. And he likes that size. It took him a while to get up to that size. I guess not. He actually would like that size from the beginning. But he has no other device. He has no iPads. He has no computers other than the one here at the cottage, and it's a desktop. So he only uses that. And I've asked him, I'm like, do you want an iPad? Do you want? He's like, no. He likes doing everything on his phone. It would drive me insane. Just the time it takes to type something out. If it was that long on a phone and all the autocorrect mistakes. I'm like, just give me a keyboard, please. I need a real keyboard. But speaking of straining your eyes, I have been reading this book called The Source. I talked about it a little bit the other day. Tamara, I think, is the Dr. Tamara, and one of these days I'm going to remember her last name. But she's a neuroscientist, and she was talking about how your brain, the plasticity of your brain, and that's about what this source book is about. It's kind of along the idea of The Secret and some other books, but backed up by neuroscience and how all that works. And so she was talking about how the brain's plasticity can help you heal. And so she was diagnosed as needing glasses. And she said, I'm going to take this opportunity to see if these things we're talking about and these things we're doing can actually help me. So she, instead of holding the book, further away, she says, I started holding my books further and further away. She started reversing that and forcing herself and her eyes to look at things, whether they were blurry, whether it was straining her eyes or not. And she was actually able to not only reverse what had happened, but she actually got better vision in the end from doing that. And she said after the first few weeks, the straining, it wasn't so bad. And she is now able to see better than she was able to see before. So, and I have been one of those people, like, knock on wood, I have not needed glasses. My dad's side of the family doesn't necessarily wear glasses other than reading glasses sometimes. So I think I get it from there. But when I feel my eyes feeling strained, I do the same thing. Like, I force myself to look at things close up, and I'll do that every once in a while. Like, I will pull things closer than they need to be and try to read them. And I think it really does help, honestly. This is a beautiful bead. I don't know if you can see all the colors in there. Lena says, cutting programs for the poor doesn't touch the deficit. People won't understand the deficit will only get lower if we bring back the taxes we used to have on wealthy and corporations. All this does is lay bills for money that we already agreed to spend. It's true. It's true. Unless we tax the corporations again and the wealthy, we're never, or cut defense spending if it's possible. I don't know. It's a huge part of the budget, and I know you could cut that by, I forget the statistic. Somebody was saying the percentage, just like 1% of the defense budget or something like that would fund so many of these social programs. And I know you don't want the country, you want the country defended. I'm all for that. But do we need to spend as much on other things than, when you start hearing about, when they talk about the toilet paper holders that were like incredible amounts of money, it's like, okay, there's something wrong there. LW26, $20. Bonnie says, a beautiful piece of love the big glass. Yeah, the big ones are nice. Michelle says, my husband texts like Andrew. Yeah, it's I don't know how he does it. On a phone, typing out all that. Sandra says, what's in Memphis? Memphis is the art exhibition at the Metals Museum. So the Metal Museum is in Memphis, and Andrew is in an exhibition in the museum. He has a piece in there. So we are going down for the opening of that show. Susan says, my dad, brother, and I were all extremely nearsighted to the point of being legally blind. Wow. Yeah, I think, there's a point, right? If you had good vision, you might be able to help restore it. Just like people are able to restore pieces of their body after a stroke. They have found, which she talks about in this book too, the actual case that created PETA because of it, where they sliced out parts of apes' brains, and they controlled some of their movements, which was extremely cruel. And then they would tape down or hold down, bind down their dominant hands, or the ones that were still working. So they would take out movement on one side of the body by slicing out a part of the brain, and they would tape down the ones that could move still and force them to see if their brains would reroute everything, and they did. And it was a big achievement, a very cruel achievement, but a big achievement for the neuroscience people, because it proved that they showed where the brain grew, new routes to things, and reconnected and grew in areas that weren't known for that, for movement and things like that. But that's when PETA was formed, and when people, were going crazy and breaking into labs and releasing animals and all that, because of that, which I completely understand that too. But it did give us the knowledge that you can reroute your brain to fix certain things, and it's been proven. Bonnie says there is so much waste in the Pentagon. I'm not there. I don't see the numbers, but I'm assuming that might be the case too. Barbara says that's a cool concept, but I think neuroplasticity is also discipline, and repeated habits train your brain and neuroplasticity. And sometimes you get old and your eyes start to suck. Could be, but yeah, she was, I think she was in her 40s when her eyes started to go bad, and she was able to reverse it. So it could be. It could also, there are only certain things. Like if it is because of just aging, it might be able to be, but if it's like cataracts, or you don't have much control over that, right? And if your spinal cord is severed, you don't have much control over that as far as making movement happen again. But when you talk about strokes, they've seen miracles, or what we would consider miracles, happen, because they did then come up with that same doctor that did the apes, I think it was apes, monkeys. The same doctor that did that then came up with a treatment for humans that was a kind of bound treatment, where they would force them to use their non-dominant, or force them to use, or try to use the part that the stroke had taken out. And they can regain some of that. Marianne says, and a 1% tax on the wealthy would also fund a lot of things, right? Yeah. All these wealthy people are like, I want to pay my taxes. Then just do it. Right? You don't have to take all the deductions. You don't have to take all the loopholes. You could just, all these ones, because we always that's what they always say, right? I pay all my taxes. I would want to pay more. Well, you can. You can just not take the deductions, or you could just not take the loopholes that allow you to save more than the average person. You can pay as much in taxes as you want, right? But they don't do that. They don't do that. Marion says, so now have more sympathy for PETA, right? Yeah. I think PETA, I don't know. I have very conflicting things about PETA. I love that they protect animals, but I also know some people, and they're out for the good of the animal. I understand that, and I believe in all that. But I also know that some people get very militant, and I think anytime you get to the extreme of anything, it can be very hard. And I think there are some things that our entire civilization would have to be changed to make some of the things happen that they wish could happen. And they're fighting the good fight, but I think sometimes they go too much. But I also do, commend them for the work they do with animals. And I'm glad there is someone out there looking out for animals. And, if sometimes you have to go overboard to make a point, I just hate to see them where they get to be the point where everyone's like, oh, it's PETA again, right? You want them to make a good, make the cause. And I don't know. I have conflicting views about that. Susan says, I had detached retinas, cataracts, amongst other things. My old doctor's name was Dr. Blinder. Oh boy. Yeah, that's a lot. My mom has dealt with a lot. Like those kind of issues, that's not gonna, you're not gonna change that. But simple old age. They also, in this book, she talks about, they took this group of 80-year-olds and they put them, they put them in a controlled environment where they had everything from when they were in their 60s. So I think it was, I think she said it was from the 1950s. So these people were 60 in the 1950s. They took, I think this, I may be wrong with the dates, but they took 80-year-olds and they put the music, they designed the house in a way, or the controlled room in a way that it looked like all the furniture was from their 60s, all the music that they could have access to is from the 60s. They took their pictures from them in their 60s, and they hung them on the walls. If they did not have a walking device like a cane or a walker or glasses or any type of, that kind of thing, when they were in their 60s, they weren't allowed to have it when they went in. And they said the difference in people was amazing. And they talked about, I'm talking more about this stuff than the beads. I hope you're seeing these beads, y'all. They're fun. But they talked about how they were able to, a lot of them were able to live without the assisted devices anymore. They took pictures before and after and had, like they asked people, does this person look younger in this picture or in this picture? They all got voted that they looked younger in their after pictures, even though they were technically a little bit older. But just going back and reliving their age in 20 years before, and living how they were living and the things that they were doing and bringing those memories back, helped them feel younger and look younger, and helped grow their brains. They did scientific studies on how, I think, on recall and just different things like that. And they gained abilities again that they didn't have, or more stability, better brain function. It's really cool. It's a really cool thing. It's a really cool book, The Source, by Dr. Tamara, and I think it's Tamara, and I can't think of her name. But if you like stuff like that, highly recommend it. I keep spinning this glass because from one side it's blue or blue gray, and then it's like clear. Blue gray, clear. $12 for that. And then it says you don't need to be cruel to test that. They did test with goggles that made things upside down, and you will adapt to a certain point. Yeah. It says you can try it by biting a mirror in your mouth and walking around your house. Yeah, they flipped people's vision, and your brain will flip the vision. But that's not actually destroying a part of the brain and forcing the neurons to grow in a part of the brain that isn't normally used for that function. So yeah, you can learn things, but the cruelty was to actually destroy the brain and see if it would regrow connections to do these things. So that's a little different, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do without having to do that. Susan says, I remember reading somewhere that 85% of the U.S. government spending supports the military. I'm all for supporting the military. I just wish we would do a better job of supporting our veterans when they come back. That's a big thing for me. I don't think they're treated very well most of the time, and they don't get the help they need, despite the gigantic defense budget we have. But that becomes a social issue after that, right? And then we cut the social spending. Barbara says neuroplasticity is a real thing. You see miracles all the time. Maybe that's our lack of understanding about science. Yeah, and she does a really good job breaking down in this book on how the brain functions with learning, whether it's whether it's, you know, I guess there are like 3 stages of your brain doing things these days. And one is when you pick something back up that you used to know, like maybe you took Spanish in high school and you started again. It's something that you're acquainted with, but not, you know, proficient in anymore. And how that can help create more neurons, I think, more neurons in your brain. Or at least more connections. And then there's the other one is, ooh, this is a nice one. This is a really nice one. The other one is mastering something. So if you already do something really well, and maybe you've set it down for a little bit. Her example was like you used to play music, but now you're going to be in a band performing quite often, where your brain already knows most of it, but you're mastering it. That's another way that things start connecting better. And I think in that one, that's where, so you start to make the connections in the first stage, in the learning stage. Then you get your, and I'm going to forget all the words now. I've only listened to this once. You get a sheathing around them, which helps protect the electrical signal, so it happens faster and more intuitively. And that comes in the deeper learning, in the mastering concept. And then the other one, they said that it doesn't happen very often in adults. And maybe that's where you're actually creating new things. And it's harder in adults, but it's also because we don't have a lot of time to devote to it. So that's where, this is a really pretty bead. That's where you learn something completely new, something you're not naturally talented in, something you don't really want to learn. This is why we don't do it very often, and it's hard to prove if it happens in adults. But like kids, they're forced to learn stuff whether they want to learn it or not, right? They got to go to school. They have to learn different things, and even things that they're not naturally gifted at. But that can be another way, and I think that's using stem cells, or it was, I don't know if it was stem cells. I think it is stem cells, to grow new neurons instead of just making the connections between them. But they haven't been able to really study that very much because adults don't have enough time in their life to do something they don't want to do and take years to do it until they might like it or be good at it. That was $28, y'all. $28. If you have any questions about these, let me know. I can't answer much, but if you want to see something again, or if you missed a price, or just let me know and I'll look back, because I know I'm talking a lot about other things instead of the beads, but sometimes I think just talking about the beads, you can see the beads mostly, right? Marion says also conflicted over PETA too. Yeah, it's, you know. Susan says me too. Marianne says gorgeous beads. These are gorgeous beads. Oh, sorry, everything skipped. Michelle says, at the nursing home, I only use my wheelchair at home. I actually can walk around assisted. Yeah, it's, you know, they say that if you take that stuff away, especially their example was now this was, again, this was consequences of naturally aging. This is naturally aging, your body doing what it does naturally and reversing some of that. That is not a consequence of any type of, you know, illness or accident or anything like that. For those kind of things, I don't know. I can't speak on them, but I just can say what she said. And so going back in time in your mind and reliving old times, they said it even helped. They had a control group. The control group was in a room, but it was not, they could only get together and talk about past times. They weren't actually reliving it through furniture and all that. They didn't have their pictures, old pictures on the walls. They can only get together and relive old times with people by talking about things. But they still improved. Most of them still improved, just not as much as the other group. Sandra says, that story is amazing. I love neuroscience. It's so cool. Yeah, it's one of my like hobbies. If I had enough time for a hobby, I would read more about it. I love these beads, by the way. These beautiful kind of matte glass. I think they're great. $24. Norma says, when my mother broke some ribs and went temporarily into assisted living, the staff babied her, and within a week she came home more helpless and afraid of living alone. Yeah, right? And, you know, I know there are times when you need to be babied, and you need to, but I think there are also times when you just got to do it, right? If you can, and not everyone can. But I've always grown up, like my family was very much, I'll do it myself if I possibly can. We don't like to ask other people for help, which is not always great. As you grow up and learn that, you know, sometimes you need help no matter what. But my family was very much, I'll just do it, I'll get it done. And sometimes that mentality really does help. But sometimes you need help too, and you shouldn't be afraid to ask if you do. Susan says, I think I feel younger by listening to different music and reading many articles and books. I'm always trying to learn new concepts, seeing things from different vantage point of many different cultures. Yeah, that was another thing. Here's some more of these, but some of these have the little dots on them. Those middle two do, and then they're the matte. This is $24 for the strand, LW37. Yeah, so that was another part, and I think I'm just getting into that part of the book where she talks about learning different things and the way I'm going to forget it now. It's like flashing through my brain. I don't have quite a hold on that concept yet, but she talks about that and reading different things and how that can assist and work together with all that. Anyway, Bonnie says, yes, you are correct, William. Many veterans have to hire lawyers just to receive benefits that were promised to them. Yeah, it's a shame. We do not, I don't think we treat our veterans well. And that is, I believe, because it's considered a social issue. Like our social programs should take care of that. But then we cut all the social programs to give defense more spending that's supposed to be for the military. But that's only when they're active, right? And it's not really about the people. I could go on about this, and I don't like to get on it too much because it upsets me. But I do not like, you fight for your country and you give that much of yourself for your country. You deserve every amount of help you can possibly get, and then some. Like, and it should be free. You should not have to pay for that. It shouldn't come out of any payment you get from the military. It shouldn't come out from any benefits you get. It should just be available for you. There's enough money in this country. That's what I have to say anyway. I get really fired up when I hear veterans having a hard time. And I don't even have a lot of veterans in my life. Like, it's not like it was anything personal to me. It's just something that really fires me up. Just because of the whole idea. If I gave my all to my country and I came back and had issues because of it, whether it was PTSD, whether it was Agent Orange, whether it was, you know, whatever, I should not have to even worry about the payments on it. I should worry about getting better. That should be the only thing that should be a concern. And it makes me crazy. Marion says, I want to learn something new every day. I try to. Some days are too busy. I don't learn anything, I feel like, but I try to, at least, even our failures and the things, I try to learn something from them at least. These are cute. I think these are the last, maybe, of that matte look. No, I got two more after this. But these are little coins. These are, I haven't been giving you sizes on most of these. I've been leaving this here. It's about 18 millimeter or so. $8 for both. Norma says, she moved permanently into assisted living. I saw it all the time, treating people as they were helpless and made them helpless. Yeah, or treating people as they were helpless and made them helpless. It's, yeah, like, we did not want my grandmother to go into a home. We fought hard. We even had my dad at her house so that she could stay there and try to keep doing things as much on her own as she could. And hopefully that was a good thing, you know. She stayed with it pretty well through most of it. She got some hospital dementia, or I think that's what it's called. If you don't know what that is, sometimes when people go into the hospital, something flips in their brain. And I don't know why. I haven't looked into it as much. I need to because it happened to her. And people get like a second personality. My grandmother started blaming family members, started accusing them of stealing from her, trying to get money from her. And she was not that person. My grandmother was one of these people that, you know, if she had it, it was yours. Like she said all the time, I don't need this. If she says, I'm old, I don't need this. But whenever she went into the hospital, and when she came out of the hospital, most of the time it went right away. And she didn't realize she was doing it. But it's a sad thing to see hospital dementia because it's really hard, especially if you're spending the last part of your life in the hospital. She spent a lot of days in the hospital with my mom and my aunt, and it was really hard for them because they were seeing this woman they didn't know anymore. And then when she would come out, she was pretty okay. So these are the next batch. You get 5 beads for $14, LW41. Susan says, my dad used to get really mad because the staff at his facility acted like he was hard of hearing. Some of them could be very patronizing. He wasn't. Dad was always open to new ideas. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And, you know, in my family, we do our best to try not to use assisted living. But, you know, sometimes you have to. Sometimes no one's close to them anymore, right? Sometimes you don't have room, you can't afford it. There's a lot of things that go into that. And sometimes they also scare us into believing we can't take care of someone too. And I think that's also another thing. You start to believe that you're not enough and you need this assisted living. I don't know. It's a whole big thing. Like I think about my mom and my aunt and as they get older and what's going to happen. And when I get older, we don't have any kids, not any human kids. So unless our cats are going to start taking care of us, we have to think about something. These are really cool beads. I like these a lot. These are really cool. This is LW42, $12 only for both of these. And that's not each, that's together, $12. Lena says, yes, help our people, our vets. The Pentagon can't account for $2 trillion. They've never passed an audit. How about that? How about that? $2 trillion and nobody's worried about it? I don't know. That just makes me crazy a little bit. Michelle says, I was there for mini strokes and RA and other health issues. Yeah, some of that, you know, that's hard stuff. That's not just general aging, right? Saying sorry to Michelle. Yeah, it's hard, right? It's really hard. And I feel for anyone who has to go through stuff like that. Barbara says, and the sacrifice they gave. I volunteer at my local homeless shelter and food pantry, and the amount of homeless, underserved vets is shocking. Yeah, I can't even imagine. And it would make me insane. Like, what do you do with that, though? Like, so many people have been trying to campaign for vets and get this righted, this wrong righted, and it's not, people aren't doing anything. And they're just cutting more and more of the social programs that would be there to help them. It makes me crazy. Like, I don't know. Like, if a vet comes home and needs disability or needs it, give it to them. Give it to them. Don't make them prove that they're trying to find work. Don't make, you know, they've done their job for the country. That getting me fired up, everybody. This is a nice pendant. It has a glue-on bell. The bell is glued on the back, but it's that dichroic glass. Beautiful orange color. Orange or red? Orange. I'm going to say orange. It's more orange. It's LW43. Susan says, I suspect vets get very little support from the military budget. The bulk goes to weapon manufacturers and the like. Yeah. Yeah, the support they need is supposed to be in the social programs we have, right? And they go away. They go away. Michelle says, my son is a caretaker, have a nurse once a week, doing much better at home. Yeah, you do better in your own environment, I think. And that's why we try to keep my grandmother in her own environment. I think people do better. Once you go into a place sometimes, whether it's the treatment you get, some are very good. I know there are people who really do care. Even on my best caring day, though, I can get frustrated. So I can't imagine what some caretakers have to go through. But if you can stay in your own environment, I think it's so much easier. Maybe not easier. I shouldn't say that, but I think it's better. But unless you get to the point where it's more dangerous, then there's always the unless, right? Michelle says, my husband is a vet. He is retired Army. Well, thank him for his service, because that's, I wouldn't want to do it. I did not want to be in the military. I 100% was not planning in any way to go into the military in my life. So people who do, I have a lot of respect for them, and I think they deserve anything we can give them when they come out of it, if they need it. This is it's one of these fumed ones again. It's $24, LW45. These beautiful kind of globules of kind of gold fumed glass. But then that beautiful clear, almost clear center. Michelle says hospital dementia might be because some get treated really bad. I have gotten treated really bad during my strokes in the hospital. My mom and my aunt stayed. One of them was always with my grandmother, and my mom and aunt are not afraid to make a scene to get better treatment if they need to, or to get the treatment they need. Especially my mom. My mom was going out yelling in the hallways, we need a doctor, not a nurse. We need a doctor. She's not afraid. And so luckily my grandmother had them, because they did find errors in treatment and stop any of the possible mistreatment that could have happened if it was just my grandmother. They were trying to talk her into things, and my mom and I were like, nope, we're not going to do that. It was the same when my grandmother went through cancer. They were trying to force her into chemo, and my grandmother did not want to do it. She's like, I'm at a point in my life, if I die from this, I've lived a good life. And she did not want to go through the chemo. And so they fought for her to not have to do that. Then they looked up a lot of treatments. My grandmother went in and had the cancer surgically removed, but they had to leave parts of it in her because it was colon cancer, I believe. It was too close to arteries to cut out. And so my mom and aunt researched and bought tons of supplements and tons of anti-cancer or cancer fighting, minerals and vitamins. And they went to they were going to radiate my grandmother's cancer. They left, I guess they leave tags in you so that they can radiate. They know where to go in and do the radiation. And when they went to do it, they found the tags, but there was no cancer anymore. They had completely cleared her of the cancer that they left remaining in her system to be radiated later. So they are not afraid to fight the good fight if they need to, which I'm thankful for them. So this is yellow glass again with these globulates, but this one's a little more spread out. It's kind of like planets flying around. I don't know. I think these are really cool. I love these. $28 only for that bead if you like.
Sandra says, I have a vestibular dysfunction. I try and make myself walk every day to make my back stronger. I'm up to 5,000 steps now, and the dizziness is getting better. The doctors can't figure it out. I'm sorry. I didn't think I knew about that. But I'm glad you're trying to get the steps in. Maybe set yourself up with some music from your youth and put up some pictures of yourself when you were younger and put in the things you used to listen to, the music, the books you used to read, the things you used to like when you were younger, and see if it helps. It can't hurt, right? It can't hurt. Susan says, Dad was World War II. He was drafted the last 2 weeks of the war, went to college on the GI Bill, which was sponsored by FDR. We watched a 3-part show on the History Channel about him, worth watching. That's good. Sandra says, I have been through months of testing and thousands of dollars of physical therapy. I'm thinking walking is alleviating the dizziness. I still have bad days, though. That's hard. That's rough. I'm sorry. It's hard, right? This is LW48, $8 for this little bead. Susan says, we weren't rich either. The nurse probably made more money than the two of us together. Right? It's hard. It's really hard. Lena says, cool layers in 46. Which one was that? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. 46 is a very nice bead. That was a very nice bead. Michelle says, LOL, my husband has gotten many people fired for mistreatment. Good. You got to stand up for yourself or have somebody who can stand up for you. Like my grandmother, she was at the point in her life, even with the cancer, she lived years after the cancer. She had some intestinal issues, and the doctor was so sure her cancer was back. They took out her entire intestines, all of her, and I guess they can do this. They take out your intestines and they can feel along them for bumps and cancerous areas. And the doctor was so sure her cancer was back because she's like, you couldn't have cleared her of cancer. She didn't believe it. And she took her intestines out and looked through. She said, I looked through every inch of her intestine. There is no cancer. So, you got to fight for people if you love them, and you got to have good people on your side. And my grandmother, she would not have fought for that herself. She would have done. She was also of the generation that, you did what the doctor said to do. And, there are some good parts of that, but sometimes you got to ask your own questions too. Pretty, is that hollow? How heavy? Lennis, which one? None of these have been hollow. I will say that. If you're talking about that yellow one with that I said is like the planets, it might be on the verge of too heavy for earrings, I would say. Probably a little too heavy. I wouldn't put it on an earring, but it's not incredibly heavy. There's only one, so I don't know if you're making earrings or not. Maybe asymmetrical. Michelle says, that's good they got the cancer. Yeah, it was. She lived a number of years after that. She just came down with some other stuff. It happens when you get older, right? My grandmother was one of those people, and her husband, my grandfather, had passed years before that. Well, not years. It was years after the cancer, because he was like, let's do the chemo. Let's get her healthy. Because that's what he knew. But so he was around for that. But then he passed of a stroke, 2 strokes actually, and they don't know what caused it. I don't know if they ever figured out what caused them. Bonnie says, quite a story about your grandmother. Supplements cured her cancer. I've never known anyone cured like that. Very awesome for her. Yeah, my mom and aunt researched a lot. She was on a lot of things, like handfuls of stuff to take. But but it did. The doctors were very specific. They left the cancer in. They left target marks for radiation. And when she went in for radiation, the cancer was gone. And then years later, a doctor thought her cancer was back, and it was not. It was still gone. This is the last one, y'all. LW50, $20. It just looks like almost like there's like, it's like a lilac or something, like flowers on the outside. And then you got the gold leaf under there on a beautiful light blue bead. Sandra says, William, the story about your grandmother is amazing. Yeah, she survived a lot. She survived a lot, and she was a tough woman. One of my very, very, very favorite people in the whole world. And I miss her very much. Susan says, no, it was about Franklin Roosevelt. Yeah, I figured that. But he did a number of great things, including the GI Bill for veterans. That's good. Bonnie says, incredible. Love that story. 47, is it hollow? Let's see. Let me look at 47. None of them are hollow, though. Yeah, that's the one I thought you were talking about. You know, let me actually... I'm going to say it's semi-hollow. See this bubble in here? That part of it, I think, is hollow. The rest of it, I think, is glass. It's pretty heavy, though. I don't have a gram scale here. But I don't think I would make that into an earring. Anything else? Perfect. But an earring, I would say no. That's probably just on the verge of being too heavy for most people. I wouldn't do it for the store. I'll say that. Sandra says, William, yeah, I never shared that before. I love the ideas about the pictures. I will try that. It won't hurt. I think a lot of it is due to the stress at work too. Yeah, if you have a stressful job, that's going to overrun a lot of stuff. Like our job, having a small business, that's stressful. So Sandra, you have a small business and a stressful job. So I get it. Stress can do a lot of damage. That book, The Source, that I'm reading or listening to, they talk about that and how, you know, when you build pathways to stress, you continue to build pathways to stress, and getting yourself out of those. They found that, of course, exercise and meditation, those two together, help people more than a lot of other stuff. Susan says, Sandra, work stress can kill. I've seen it happen. Yeah, it does. Michelle says, stress does a lot. I'm not even allowed to deal with a lot of things because of stress. Yeah, I think, honestly, 100%, I believe that my autoimmune issues, many of them are stress related. I think my vitiligo was an onset of the stress I felt when my dad was doing his drug stuff that he was doing, and a lot of disruptions in our family, a lot of, you know, late nights hearing parents fight and windows being broken. My dad he didn't get violent toward people generally, but toward things. I came home, I guess my mom probably knew it was going to happen, but I came home one time from my grandparents' house one weekend, and my dad had a lot of old cars that he was going to repair. I came home and all the car windows were smashed out with rocks, and it was him. So it was that kind of environment, and I don't blame my mom for it. I don't even blame my dad anymore. It was addiction. It was what it was. But I do believe that being a child, very young, all this started when I was 5 or 6. I remember his addiction starting, and being a young child in your bedroom, you know, like shaking from stressed out fear, I think did a lot. And so stress can do a lot. Susan says, these beads are so beautiful. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Thank you for joining us. Lena says, stress, lack of sleep, and multitasking affects memory negatively. Yes, it can. It definitely can. Sleep is one of the biggest things. I've been watching a lot of YouTube things, and even this book. They talk about sleep and how important sleep is, because your brain clears out things in your sleep. Here, I'm going to flip the camera because we're just going to talk about this. And if you want to hang out and talk with me about this, you can. If you want to go, that's the end of the beads, y'all. So you can go if you want. Not that you couldn't at any time, but we hope you stay and at least watch the beads. But if you want to hang out with me and talk about this a little bit, I'm just going to say a little bit more. So
for dementia and for Alzheimer's, and they're finding that sleep is one of the most important things. I worry about Andrew. There is a percentage of the population, a very, very small percentage, but it is true. There is a small percentage of the population who do not need 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. It is rare. It is exceptionally rare. Everyone likes to think they're one of them when they don't sleep. But your brain takes 7 to 8 hours to purge all the bad stuff. So when things are dying in there and when things need to be cleaned out and flushed out, your brain often uses sleep time to do that. And if you do not give your brain the full amount of time that it needs to do that every night, or every other night, or how often it needs, it builds up. The plaques build up, those things build up, and they have found that that is what causes, or part of the cause, of a lot of dementia and Alzheimer's. So sleep is incredibly important. I was trying to exercise, and I'm still trying to do that. I've faltered a little bit, get back on that horse, but the one thing I am trying to do for myself, and it's so hard because Andrew doesn't sleep, and I feel like when I sleep, he might feel like he needs to do extra or stay up longer to compensate. I wish he would sleep more, but maybe he's one of those people that don't need it. And he's always been that way though. So I don't know, but I have been making a concentrated effort on myself. Is that the word? Concentrated effort to try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Even if I wake up, I'm at least trying to be sleeping for about 7 to 8 hours because of how important I am reading and watching, and everybody is talking about how sleep is. So Lennis, you're right. Lack of sleep is a big thing. Multitasking is, they've shown you can't really multitask. Your brain generally doesn't truly multitask. You switch quickly between things, but you don't really multitask in the way of doing two things at once. You're just switching very quickly. And what she's saying in this book is that a healthy brain, a healthy brain can be a very agile brain, and you can switch between things very quickly and methods of thinking very quickly. So whether you're thinking about things you know well, or you're trying to look at the other side of an issue, the healthier your brain is, and that's through sleep, through exercise, through meditation, and through food are the main things that she's saying to build your brain, which naturally seems about right? That you can have an agile brain and you can do more things. Like it is healthy at that point then to be able to switch the way you think and the different methods of thinking that we use. But a brain that's not well taken care of does have issues with that. So Sandra says, can't decide on these beautiful beads. I'm going to have to rewatch. Get them soon because I'm going to be invoicing tonight, sometime tonight. All right. Cleaner for the brain, right? You gotta clean that brain. Lennis says, we have studies that show movement helps learning, like certain exercises help with learning math. Yeah. She talks a little bit about that, but not particular exercises which help things. But walking 10,000 steps a day if you can. She says right now, and this book was in 2019, I think. So back then, and I've listened to podcasts with her since then, recently, and she says even the amount of things, she's like, I don't even necessarily always like to reread the book because she says so much has even changed since then, or more, they've learned more. But back then, 10,000 steps and 120 minutes of a higher impact, a cardio exercise a week. So 10,000 steps a day can really help. And 120 minutes of any type of cardio or higher impact, or what do they call it? When you go full force and then you take a break, that kind of high impact in something training. Anyway, that's good for you. Marianne says, dreams let you go safely insane every night. I like that. I do. I haven't been dreaming a lot lately. I went through a week or two where I was dreaming a lot, and I really liked it. And then I've been like, lately, I'm no dream. Well, I have been dreaming, but I don't remember them. I was getting very vivid ones that I would remember, and I was happy about that because my dreams are generally pretty good. But I've also started taking Zysol for allergies, and I think it's giving me weird dreams, almost kind of nightmarish, but not nightmare. I don't know. So we'll see if that continues. But I have found it's working pretty well for my allergies for the most part. It's helping a lot at night. Anyway, so that's it. Oh, I was going to show you these too. The finished products ready to go on the website of Andrew's next 11 paintings. I told you, I think at the beginning of this, 11 paintings. I've taken pictures of these already. I have to edit the pictures, and I'm going to do that here on the faster internet. And then we are going to post these online tonight. So as soon as I get the pictures edited and get the descriptions copied and updated, I'm going to post these, and they will be available. And honestly, every time he comes out with a new batch of these, I love it. This, when he was talking about this, I was rewatching this as I was cleaning some last night. And he said that he's like, it's kind of like a fantasy sparrow or something. And that line, I'm like, I want to turn that line into a t-shirt. Like, take this, put it on a t-shirt. It's kind of like a fantasy sparrow. And I think he said sparrow. Was it sparrow? He was talking about that bird. And I'm like, that would be such a fun, cool new saying about like something you started, but it turned out different or something. Like, just say, oh, it's kind of like a fantasy sparrow, right? I thought that was so funny. It just clicked in my brain like that. It's probably clicking more for me than anyone, but I thought it was fun. I love this one too. But every time he does these, I'm like, this is the best batch ever, because I think they keep getting better and better. Lena says, lovely books today, and that book sounds interesting. Love all the new paintings too. Yeah, me too. The other book that I read a long time ago is The Brain That Changes Itself by Dr. somebody Dodge, I think. The Brain That Changes Itself. And it talks a lot about stroke victims and the neuroplasticity of the brain. And that's a much older book, but it is still a good book. It's one that has stuck with me a lot. And when my grandfather went through the stroke, everything happened so fast. I didn't get to think about that book more, and I wish I could have helped him more, maybe, with some of the things that were in it. But things happen, right? Norma says, I dream a lot, and a lot of them are very bizarre. My friends enjoy the descriptions. We get a lot of laughs, but I'm also very nightmare prone. Yeah, I can't say that I'm nightmare prone, I don't think. But like my dreams, like the last few that I can remember, one, we were just having book club. It was a book club. I had the book, and we lived somewhere different. We were walking down these kind of cobblestone roads to walk to the book club. And it was just me. Andrew was doing something. He had to catch up. And we were going to our friend's house. We were having the book club at the friend's house. And they had this beautiful, like, I can still picture it. It was just a thin stone house, but it was the most warm, comfy feeling. Like they had a fire going, and we came into the front room, and it was a narrow room, but they had like a bench seating, and we all sat down together and just started talking about the book. Like that was the dream. And then another dream, I was walking through this house, and I kept going up, 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 up. There was an elevator for a while, and when the elevator reached the top, I looked out from this window in the house, and it was like the house was it didn't start this way. It started as like, you know how dreams morph. It started as kind of like this, I don't know, it was kind of like a city house, like just a regular townhouse. But by the time I got to the top and opened it up, it was like this industrial feeling, but it was beautiful. And you walked out, and it was like hanging. The house must have been hanging off the edge of a cliff because I could overlook the ocean, and there was nothing but the cliff side, and the cliff even came like the back wall of the house. Once you got to a certain point, once you got out and looked and turned around, was the side of a cliff. So I was like, I want a cliff house now. Why can't I have that house? So that's how my dreams a lot of times have been lately, like just very kind of mundane, or what should be mundane, but spectacular in some way, whether it's the feelings with people or the sights you see, or so that's why I like dreaming now, because I actually have pretty good dreams. Um, yeah. So anyway, Bonnie says, I appreciate the book titles. I'm going to check them out. Yeah, please do. Please do. Sandra says, love the cardinal. I do too. This one is so intricate. Like I was like, wow. Like you look at it real quick, it's like it's a photo, but it's not a photo. It's a painting. My other favorites, I love this one. I really do. Oh, there's so many. I'm just gonna be like, this is my favorite, and this is my favorite, and this is my favorite. I love this and the gold around it. Like you're not gonna probably see that in the photo, so that's why I like to show these on video. But look at the gold outlining that. It just really brings it out and makes it really special. Who doesn't love that? It's doing its dance that they do. Love that. This one's just kind of like almost eerie a little bit. Like, I don't know, but I kind of like it. It's like that I could see in my dreams somewhere. And what's the other one? Oh, yeah, I do like this one too. I like this one a lot. The Pride Snake. And then, of course, the Fantasy Sparrow, which I still want to put that on a shirt. It's like a fantasy sparrow, you know? Who doesn't know what that's like? I know what that's like. Don't you know what that's like? Susan says, we still have to figure out where to put Andrew's paintings. I'll post in Design Challenge after they're up. Yeah, please do. If you've got any of his and you've put them in your house, and you've framed them up or put them somewhere, we'd like to see that. Please feel free to post it in the Design Challenge group. Yeah, I don't know. So we've talked a lot, mostly about stuff, neuroscience today. So hopefully I didn't bore people, or, well, if you did, then you're not for us, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe that conversation isn't, we talk about a lot of stuff here. But I've missed y'all, and I'm glad to catch up and chat with you about these things and learn things about y'all today, some of you anyway. So that's always good. I think that's nice. So if you saw anything you liked here, please do send us an email. Like I said, things are slow. We're trying to go on this trip to Memphis to get Andrew down there so that he can be there for the opening when his show is up. And, any of these sales right now help us and help someone else too. So the paintings will definitely help us. So if you saw any paintings you like here, please do check the website later tonight. Probably not in too much time. Give me probably about a half hour or 45 minutes. And I should have them up. And that money will go directly to us to help with this trip and the gas money and all that. So, Menace says, we missed you too. Thank you. I appreciate that. Marianne says, love the neuroscience stuff. Me too. I can't get enough of it, but I don't have enough time for it. I cannot listen to these things when I'm working. Andrew can listen while he's painting and doing things, and I think he gets in that, that artistic mindset of, you get in the flow state and you're just doing it, and he can listen and comprehend while he's doing things. My work is too much thinking as far as I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and I got to do, even if it's just like copying, pasting, or typing your names into a spreadsheet. I'm typing a name, thinking about your name, and I'm missing what I'm hearing. So I have to listen to all my audiobooks either driving. Even then I zone out about, things going around. If I get behind somebody who's going crazy or someone behind me is going crazy, I missed it. You don't know how many times I tap rewind. But yeah, it's I love learning about it. I just wish I had more time to spend listening to it and that not just listening, but that focused listening when you try to get new information in your head. Um, Pam's watching the replay. You're not yet. You're watching the live. So far, you're watching the end of the live, Pam. We've not gone to the replay yet. We are still here, 2 hours and 21 minutes later right now. So welcome. But you can catch the replay once this does end and gets processed on Facebook and YouTube. Susan says, I love listening to music while working or creating. Yes, music, 100%. Usually, I would have music going during these lives if they didn't stop us and copyright or call us out for copyright infringement or whatever. Because I have music going most of the time. Of course, we have music in the store all the time. When I'm sitting at my desk, I have music playing. Maybe that's why it takes me longer. I even often at times have music playing when I'm editing the Saturday morning tutorial. Sometimes it's hard because I have to focus on the editing, and the music does. I want to hear what it's like without anything in the background. But through the editing process, until I go through and kind of watch a final thing, I usually have some music playing. But actual things that I have to pay attention to and like take into my brain and like remember, like the stuff I'm trying to remember about neuroscience so I can incorporate it in my life more, I have to do that when I'm almost doing absolutely nothing. And even when I'm doing nothing, my brain is doing something and it's hard to focus. But I'm hoping that with meditation, I can get better at that. Supposedly you can. Marianne says, most of the music I listen to is from my teen years or 20s. Keeps me young. Yes, that's what they're showing. It just might be. They also found that people who do not care about their age much, who live just as they don't focus on their number, they don't, they just live as they live, they also oftentimes have fewer issues. They've already kind of trained their brain to be younger, and they act younger, and they, they're not focusing on the number. That was a part of the book too. So it is a thing, apparently, that if you act young and kind of sometimes relive your past, don't get too far into it, right? You don't want to become a teenager again. I don't think I could ever want to do that again. But I do listen to a lot of music from my very young days, music even that my parents listened to that I didn't, but it takes me back to that time in my head. That's the kind of thing that she's saying can do that, right? Can keep you young, keep your brain functioning at a higher level. I don't know, making those connections in there. But one of her things was neurons that fire together, wire together for better or worse. So if you're constantly stressed out and, like me, anxious, the more you live in that, the more your brain will create that and those pathways and make it easier for that. So I'm trying hard. I'm trying to sleep better. I'm trying to exercise more, falling off that horse, but getting back on. And she says that's a part of it, making new habits and doing this. You will come to a time like something was so easy last week, but this week it's so hard, and you're not getting it anymore, or you fall off of doing it. And but keep doing it, keep going back, keep doing it, keep making those small improvements. Marianne says, I feel younger than I actually am. Yeah, I have never, honestly, knock on wood, we don't have kids, for one. So for us, we are not going through that process of watching these young people, these tiny babies, grow up and turn into the ages we remember we were, right? Now we kind of are with our nieces and nephews, but we don't see them every day. So for me, in my head, I don't think I'm aging mentally at the same rate that somebody who has a kid and who's watching them grow up and, watching that time literally pass. I think I feel younger. I think I maybe act younger than some people who do have kids. Now we have a store and a business, and that's kind of like having kids because you're constantly worried about it. But we're not watching that age the same way, right? So I think mentally, I think for me, I don't have some of the same issues that like as I'm getting into my 40s, they talk about these things that happen to people and go wrong, and your body starts doing this and that. And yeah, maybe some of it, but I mean, I don't feel like I have the issues that some of my peers have. And I think maybe that's listening to this and hearing that, I think that's part of it. Because I'm not watching kids grow up. I'm not seeing myself age as they grow up. I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. And then just hearing her say that today in this book, I'm like, oh, that clicks. That fits in, right? So yeah, I think that can be a thing. Pam says, I think I'm young, but my body tells me otherwise. I'm only now enjoying the music of the 50s and 60s. Yeah, so Pam, you should rewatch this because we were talking about this book I'm watching or listening to. And she's a neuroscientist, and she helps coach people now. Instead of being more in the medicine, she's more in the coaching and how you can change your brain and neuroplasticity. And she took 80-year-old people and put them, well, she didn't, but there was a study with 80-year-olds who they were put in a house that was designed to look like everything looked when they were in their 60s. And how like some of them ended up not needing glasses by the end or didn't need their walkers anymore, and how the change and reliving that youth, youth in your 60s, right? I guess in the 80s that's your youth, the part of it. But how reliving that youth time made them feel better and had chemical and brain changes that helped them with their cognition and with their like balance and things like that. Michelle says, Marianne, I do the same, but I also listen to the music of today. Yeah, I think it's about, you listen to new stuff, but also if you can relive the times when you felt younger, and more, healthy or whatever, supposedly there's something to that in your brain that can help you. You're still going to age, right? We haven't discovered how to stop that yet, but if you can age with your full brain, or as much of it as you can, I think that's the best thing, right? So yeah. Anyway, so we've talked for like 2.5 hours, which has been great because I've enjoyed it and I missed y'all. I will be back, should be back this coming Monday. Although now we have a helper on Mondays. We're going to start filming, and we might cut out lives on Monday. We'll see. I have to talk with Andrew about it, whether we want to do that or not. But we've been thinking about this and having fewer lives, and being able to take time to film more things that are processed and uploaded to help with that YouTube algorithm, and help make money off of YouTube, hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see. If nothing else, after these next like 4 weeks, I think I have left of this one pottery class, I should be back on Thursdays and Fridays at least. If not Mondays, if we decide to go the route of no Monday lives, we'll see. But for now, I will see you next Monday, I think. No, I won't. We'll be driving back from Memphis, so we'll probably see you on the road on Monday. And maybe we'll do some road shots. We're going to leave tomorrow. So maybe we're going to go to Touchstone first for their open house and then head to Memphis. And so we'll probably do things from the road. I'm going to try and be better about doing things from the road because I think y'all like it. So, but it's going to be like a hustle. We'll probably do more coming back than going down because we have a very short, it's a long drive. So it's a short amount of time to do anything extra. So maybe on coming back, we'll get up really early and do some things and take some more time, just a leisurely drive back maybe. We'll see. We'll see. But whatever we do, we will try to keep you informed. All right. So thanks so much for everything. Susan says, I need to get dinner. Mary says, have a great weekend. You can tell I'm ending, right? So thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support. Like I said, it's been incredibly slow, but I'm hoping now that this debt issue is done, things will hopefully pick back up. So if you do need something, or if you have any friends who you think need some beads or jewelry making supplies, please, please, please point them over to our website. We really appreciate that, and we could really use it right now. You know, we're hanging in there, but it's tougher than it should be at this point in the year, and we were not expecting it. So, yeah, it's a little rough, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So let's see. Pam says safe travels for you and Andrew. Thank you. Susan says safe journeys. Thank you. We plan to have fun. So just going to try and have fun with it. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And if you saw something you liked today in the live, please do send us an email for those LW lots. We're going to have more though. Okay. There will be more Lampwork Glass. I don't know if it'll be on Monday. Well, it's not going to be a Monday. Stop. We're not going to be home until Monday night. So we won't have the live on Monday, but we will have more Lampwork Glass. Maybe Andrew will start it next week, or we'll do more on next Friday. I don't know, but there will be more. All right. Got a little bit more to do. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been fun. I'm going to go do some paintings on the online store and check some emails for these Lampwork Glass and try and invoice, and then edit a video for tomorrow morning. All right. Bye, everybody.